A fly that had been crawling along Wilbur's trough had flown up and blundered into the lower part of Charlotte's web and was tangled in the sticky threads. The fly was beating its wings furiously, trying to break loose and free itself. "First," said Charlotte, "I dive at him." She plunged head first toward the fly. As she dropped, a tiny silken thread unwound from her rear end. "Next, I wrap him up." She grabbed the fly, threw a few jets of silk around it, and rolled it over and over, wrapping it so that it couldn't move. Wilbur watched in horror. Oh, he does not like this, huh, you guys? He could hardly believe what he was seeing, and although he detested flies, he was sorry for this one. "There," said Charlotte. "Now I knock him out so he'll be more comfortable." She bit the fly. "He can't feel a thing now," she remarked. "He'll make a perfect breakfast for me." "You mean you eat flies?" gasped Wilbur. "Certainly. Flies, bugs, grasshoppers, choice beetles, moths, butterflies, tasty cockroaches, gnats, midges, daddy longlegs, centipedes, mosquitoes, crickets, anything that is careless enough to get caught into my web. I have to live, don't I?" "Why, yes, of course," said Wilbur. "Do they taste good?" "Delicious! Of course, I don't really eat them. I drink them, drink their blood. I love blood," said Charlotte, and her pleasant, thin voice grew even thinner and more pleasant. "Don't say that," groaned Wilbur. "Please don't say things like that." "Why not? It's true, and I have to say what is true. I am not entirely happy about my diet of flies and bugs, but it's the way I'm made." You guys, I want to pause there at that first sentence where she says, "It's true, and I have to say what is true." That leads me to believe that she's very honest and she doesn't really tell lies. So as we read, I want us to look for things where Charlotte is truthful about things she might not want to be truthful about. We're learning a lot about her in this paragraph. "I'm not entirely happy about my diet of flies and bugs, but that's the way I'm made. A spider has to pick up a living somehow or other, and I happen to be a trapper. I just naturally build a web and trap flies and other insects. My mother was a trapper before me. Her mother was a trapper before her. All our family have been trappers, way back for thousands and thousands of years. We spiders have been laying for flies and bugs." "It's a miserable inheritance," said Wilbur gloomily. He was sad because his new friend was so bloodthirsty. "Yes, it is," agreed Charlotte, "but I can't help it. I don't know how the first spider in the early days of the world happened to think of this fancy idea of spinning a web, but she did. And it was clever of her too. And since then, all of us spiders have to work the same trick. It's not a bad pitch on the whole." "It's cruel," replied Wilbur, who did not intend to be argued out of his position. "Well, you can't talk," said Charlotte. "You have your meals brought to you in a pail. Nobody feeds me. I have to get my own living. I live by my wits. I have to be sharp and clever, lest I go hungry." Ooh, some more character traits, you guys. "I have to think things out, catch what I can, take what comes, and it just so happens, my friend, that what comes is flies and insects and bugs. And furthermore," said Charlotte, shaking one of her legs, "do you realize that if I didn't catch bugs and eat them, bugs would increase and multiply and get so numerous that they'd destroy the earth, wipe out everything?" That's interesting, you guys. That's a good time to stop and jot what she just said. Really? Said Wilbur. I wouldn't want that to happen. Perhaps your web is a good thing after all. The goose had been listening to this conversation and chuckling to herself. There are a lot of things Wilbur doesn't know about life, she thought. He's really a very innocent little pig. He doesn't even know what's going to happen to him about Christmas time. He has no idea that Mr. Zuckerman and Lurvy are plotting to kill him. Oh my gosh. And the goose raised herself a bit and poked her eggs a little further under her so that they would receive the full heat from her warm body and soft feathers. Charlotte stood quietly over the fly, preparing to eat it. Wilbur lay down and closed his eyes. He was tired from his wakeful night and from the excitement of meeting someone for the first time. A breeze brought him the smell of clover, the sweet-smelling world beyond his fence. Well, he thought, I've got a new friend, all right. But what a gamble friendship is. Charlotte is fierce, brutal, scheming, bloodthirsty, everything I don't like. How can I learn to like her, even though she is pretty and, of course, clever? Wilbur was merely suffering the doubts and fears that often go with finding a new friend. In good time, he was to discover that he was mistaken about Charlotte. Underneath her rather bold and cruel exterior, she had a kind heart, and she was to prove loyal and true to the very end. Hey guys, now that we are done with chapter 5, there are 2 things that I want you to do. 1, I want you to add Charlotte to your character list, to Charlotte's Web character list. 2, I want you to make a character trait about Charlotte's Web. So right here, I just drew a picture of a spider, and then I drew 4 boxes because I want you guys to have 4 character traits. I did one for y'all. So it says honest. She tells Wilbur the truth about what she eats, even though she knows he doesn't like it. So if you'd like, you can pause to see how I've drawn this and draw your own, or you can just make a list of character traits, you guys. But I want you to at least have 4 character traits and evidence to support it. So, how is she honest? She tells Wilbur the truth about what she eats, even though she knows it's kind of gross and that he doesn't like to hear about it. Once you're done, you can upload it to Class Dojo if you'd like me to see it. All right, bye y'all.